Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Dr. Afifi. My name is Amirul Azrai bin Ismail. My metric number is 1201482. So today, I will present about the critical review on user satisfaction with suluh mediation in the Selangor Syariah Judicial Department. Next, we move to the table of contents, which consists of introduction, suluh mediation in the Sharia Court, the satisfaction on suluh, methodology and measurement of variables, result of evaluation, critics and recommendations, and the last one is conclusion. Next, we move to the introduction. As we know, mediation process, which known as suluh in the Sharia Court, is a part of alternative dispute resolution (ADR) technique to resolve the disputes or conflicts between the parties outside of the court, and it has many benefits and advantages rather than litigation process that happen in the court. Besides, it also focuses on the relevance of suluh as an alternative approach in dealing up with family disputes by Selangor Syariah Judicial Department, to be suggested in Majlis Suluh in year 2002. Then, the purpose of this study is to determine the relationship between the demographic characteristics of users of suluh and fulfillment with suluh. This study also needs to review about the distinction in vindication with suluh between male and female users. Therefore, by time to time, it will design the suluh method to be a form in the states of Malaysia to be applicable towards to the society. Next, suluh mediation in Syariah Court. Suluh or mediation in Syariah Court is a process of life that contributes guidance towards human to guide and facilitate them. It also known as a method that fixes matters between both parties and involves the third party. For instance, in suluh proceeding, there is a third party which known as a mediator or suluh officer, which will guide and facilitate both parties to resolve the disputes or conflicts between them. The purpose of suluh proceeding is to gain justice and produce a positive reaction toward both parties, which is such as peace and harmony between the parties. Then, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala also mentions about the dispute resolution in Surah An-Nisa verse 35, which means, and if you fear dissension between the two, send an arbitrator from his people and an arbitrator from her people. If they both desire reconciliation, Allah will cause it between them. Indeed, Allah is ever knowing and acquainted with all things. Next, the satisfaction on suluh. First of all, the satisfaction on suluh is to indicate the relationship between socio-demographic nature of the users and their satisfaction with suluh method. This means that we can see the users of suluh satisfaction by the evaluation that has been made by the Selangor Syariah Judicial Department towards them to know whether they are satisfied with the suluh method or not. Then, to provide the exercise which are important to the users. And the last one is, the study has been made to show the application of suluh has its own unique and absolute goal or purpose as suggested in Islamic law. Next, we move to the methodology of this study. The methodology that has been applied is sampling technique towards respondents of this study, which involve the users of suluh selected. In addition, the chosen courts also show the geographic zones in Selangor, like Lower Syariah Court, which located in Sabak Bernam, Kuala Selangor, Sepang, Bandaraya Shah Alam and Hulu Langat. Then, it was started by the distribution of 250 questionnaires via mail to the respondents, whereby the questionnaire was commenced with a cover letter demonstrates about the objective of the survey and affirmed the privacy of response and their voluntary of the respondent itself. Next, we come out with the measurement of variables, which in this evaluation of this study, they measure with the two components, which is the independent and dependent. Firstly, the independent mentions about the socio-demographic essential of the user of suluh that contains age of respondent, the gender, whether male or female, the level of education, the employment of the user, the income, and the number of children that they have. Secondly, the writer also stated that dependent, which become the second component, becomes measures of variable in this evaluation. Other than that, there are items that included in the question S in terms of satisfaction of suluh's user, which are safety, courtesy and respect, convenience, service, fair, reliable court function, clarity, outcome and overall satisfaction. In July 2007, a pretest was done to examine the precision of the questions and pinpoint the problem with the instrument. Specifically, 50 question S have been handed out to the users of family mediation via mail. Next, we move to the results of evaluation. So, in this study, we can see that there are some components which are contribute to the results of evaluation that has been made towards to the society, which is users of suluh, which they are. The first one is socio-demographic characteristics, then satisfaction of suluh, then main differences on satisfaction suluh and correlation between socio-demographic variables, and the last one is satisfaction with suluh. So, by going through these components, we can see that these components has contribute and give the results of or that produce the result for the Syariah Selangor Judicial Department to see or to observe whether the users of suluh is satisfied with this method. Next, we move to the critics and recommendations. Generally, an overview of the mechanism of suluh and its development at the present time by expressing the objectives and findings of the study conducted to figure out the effectiveness of suluh among the society. On the other hand, mediation or suluh in Syariah court mostly discuss the claim of certain cases through suluh proceeding and not to settle divorce cases in Islamic law. In my opinion, this kind of mechanism may be suggested to the court, to the Syariah court institution to be applied and be used and expanded widely. And for the last one is, I also would like to suggest to the JKSM department whether they may amend and add new contents in the practice direction in the future, whereby it can include divorce cases or issues in this practice direction. Next, for the last one is conclusion. In conclusion, suluh or mediation in the Syariah court is one of the methods that are included in ADR mechanism, which known as a process or a system to deal up with the disputes and misunderstanding between the disputants. In fact, suluh method has more benefits that can be gained by the people or society, such as the decision of the conflicts or disputes can be determined by them. However, the mediator or suluh officer will facilitate and guide them only in the suluh proceeding. Due to the result of the evaluation that has been done in this study, the respondents would recommend the suluh process or method in terms to resolve the family disputes to the other users. Lastly, we can identify that suluh is very efficient to be promoted among the public and give the welfare and justice to them to draw the calmness, peace and harmony in their disputes or agreement. That's all from me. Thank you.